In 1903, the New York Times made a pretty bold prediction. They said flying machines or manned flight would take between 1 and 10 million years to achieve. And 9 weeks later, these guys, Orville and Wilbur Wright, would achieve the first manned flight. And I won't hate on the New York Times too much because sometimes impossible ideas seem just that, impossible. But because of the massive success of planes today, it really reminds me of this Arthur Clarke quote. Every revolutionary idea seems to evoke 3 stages of reaction. They may be summed up by 3 phases. 1, it's completely impossible. 2, it's possible, but it's not worth doing. 3, I said it was a good idea all along. Some of the most important inventions of the last century were originally dismissed as trivial or useless or even crazy. Somehow these dumb ideas have reshaped the entire world around us. So I thought it'd be fun to look at a few examples of technologies that have been world-changing but were originally dismissed as crazy or impossible. When Thomas Edison introduced the first light bulb, a British parliamentary committee went to investigate and analyze the potential impact of the invention. They would deem it unworthy of attention for practical or scientific men, and doubled down and said that everyone acquainted with the subject will recognize it as a conspicuous failure. How many light bulbs do you use on a daily basis? Even trains were ridiculed at first. In 1825, a British periodical would say, "What can be more palpably absurd than the prospect held out of locomotives traveling twice as fast as stagecoaches?" Some people were even afraid that the high speed of the original locomotives would cause suffocation of passengers. The laptop was a more recent one, and I'll give it to them that the original laptops were a little bit clunky like this. But again, the New York Times would claim that the tray tables on airplanes would be going back to being used by drinks or coffee or food, and not these clunky electronic devices. And you may have heard the story about the original automobiles and how people didn't think that they would be a real thing, and just even yelling, "Get a horse." The Literary Digest in 1899 would say the ordinary horseless carriage, aka car, is a luxury for the wealthy, and although its price will probably fall, it will never, of course, become in use as much as a bicycle. If you know of any other crazy ideas that were originally ridiculed or people told you it wouldn't work but that now has become these massive inventions, leave those in the comments. And this is a reminder to everyone that there are crazy ideas out there, but the next time you hear a crazy idea, remember that today's absurdity might become tomorrow's necessity.